Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened one. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes to clarify ourselves that how this practice can help for us to develop our inner awareness and at the same time cultivate ourselves for better development. So when it comes to our human life, the most important part is our awareness. So not the mind. Awareness is the center. So when it comes to things, the mind becomes the center. But the mind is a part of the awareness. So out of the meditation, we try to develop the awareness. When the awareness becomes stronger, sharper and clear, mind going to listen to the awareness. Not only the mind, the body, feelings, this all. So then there were some questions about the self. I am. So what is this I am? From where the I am come? When the awareness become clear, stronger, when the awareness become the major, or if the awareness become the subject, there is no I am. But what happened when the mind becomes the subject, more than the awareness, when the mind becomes the subject, the mind try to interpret, mind try to explain things out of object. So that is where the I am come. So that is where when it come to I am, how you going to explain about the I am? You can't bring your consciousness or the awareness as I am. You bring your body. See that it become object. Without the object, you can't explain I am. and you bring the feelings. Feelings also related to the object. And you bring the name. So the name also become part of the object. But if you keep the center as your awareness, then for the awareness, no any kind of separation. So in some teachings, it's the awareness, it has a different ideas about it. It's maybe permanent. We all experience the same awareness. It's person to person different. But when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, that awareness also not permanent. But before we go into that, so you have to understand to separate that awareness from the body, mind, the feelings. And when you start to explain things, understand things with the mind base point of view, that is where the I am going to appear. So it's the kind of like a way that we hold it to things. Just imagine, if the consciousness is there, you don't need anything. But once the mind start to interpret, and the mind start to come with the things, so it mainly come with the body. So once you take the body as I am, just imagine, it is how many things start to come to you. The body, the major thing is the gender. Once you take this body as I am, what will happen? The gender. So then look at the world. So how many things separated because of the gender? And the color. Once you hold it to the body, what happened? Then the very next thing is the color. And the other thing is all the habitual patterns. As you know, this body go with certain kind of pattern. And then you into that pattern. And then not only that, all the maintains that the disease, the health-wise, this is everything related to the body. So then what happens? You hold it to that all. So when the mind depend on things, the mind doesn't care about outcome. It doesn't care. Look at your life. The mind is kind of like a wild animal. The thoughts come, and sometimes we practice meditation, people become good, and it looks nice, very nice. But sometimes this mind become kind of like so wild, and we can't handle it. Why? Because it always has its own pattern. So the thing is, when you neglect the consciousness, hold it to the thoughts or the body or the feelings as me, then what will happen? When the mind become wild, and then everything collapse. So through the meditation, what we does, Little by little, you have to train the awareness. So the awareness is like this. Just imagine the huge, strong elephant. The mind is like that. So then the awareness is like the mahout. So just imagine if the elephant not trained well, what will happen? That little mahout, the elephant can throw that mahout away like a little lilliput. And it is the elephant so strong and can go to any direction. So untrained mind is like that. But how about if the mahout train the awareness? The mahout is the awareness. So if the awareness become strong and train the mind little by little, then what will happen to that wild elephant? Even with the little awareness, you can handle the mind. So if you can handle the mind, as you know, you can handle the body. So you can handle the feelings. So practicing meditation is the method to develop the awareness, and using that awareness little by little, you train the mind. Rather than keep it as a center, you keep the awareness as the center and you train the mind. So it's like everything else, because like, from the beginning, when you learn to ride bicycle by reading books, learning theories, and it doesn't matter how physically you are strong, that anything doesn't care. You have to into practice. And many times maybe you will fall down, but still by the time you will get the balance. So same like when it comes to meditation also, you have to start to get into training, practice. It is very necessary. Without practicing, you will never develop this awareness. Maybe you think, but by the time what will happen when the mind start to go wild, awareness become helpless. So then how you can train this wild elephant little by little, little by little, little by little? So you can train the elephant once you have to recognize this separation. Otherwise, you always into wrong place. You always into mind. You try to train the mind, control the mind, and develop the mind. You don't into the awareness. But here, with the meditation, we into awareness, not the mind. So the awareness is the center. And once the awareness becomes center, you not into things. Because remember, the awareness is not a thing. And when the mind depend on things, what happens? That is where the object and subject start to have a conversation. So it's like this. When you have a pawn, you can say you have a pawn. It's a kind of like, It's a kind of like a general information. Oh, I have a phone. But how about if you say, I have an iPhone? Then it related to the Apple. So same like when you have the consciousness, is generally you have the recognition. It doesn't depend on the self-centered mind, or it doesn't have a view. But when you try to understand things with the mind, it always go with the object. That is where the self arises. So like when the phone become iPhone, it go into the Apple. When the awareness neglect, and when you try to go with the mind, it always go with the object, and then it into the world. So the mind has a history. It has eons by eons collective nature, which we call the sanskara. But the awareness is not the sanskara. That's why by using the awareness, you can uproot the sanskara. So then here, always remember, the mind is not that, you should not that much put a value on it. You should put the value on the awareness. And always into the awareness, when the things arise in mind, just let it be there a little bit. But you have to mainly focus to the awareness, and then by the time awareness becomes stronger. So it is a method that little by little, you have to pick up. And then other thing is, so then without the mind, can we live? Without the mind, can we have a body? So if you want to live, that is where you neglect the awareness. That is where you come with the mind, because you have desire to maintain. You have desire to be. You have desire to experience. That desire itself take you to the things. So then without things, can the consciousness can exist? So without things, consciousness doesn't have a purpose to be. When you neglect the consciousness, and as a result of that, what happens? The mind becomes the main source, and then what happens? The mind overtake the life, and then keep going. So that if you start to go into the consciousness, and then you recognize this mind, this body, these feelings doesn't have any value. And that itself, you come to the point to gain your liberation. Because the mind always come to the things, and the things always come to the mind. And as example, it like this. This pen is the object. Listen this very carefully and try to get it. So this pen is the object. How this pen become the object? That's the important thing. So without the mind, can this pen be the object? This pen, the appearance of this pen make this pen as object. So appearance, this pen to the mind or to the eye is itself create this pen as an object. So then appearance of the sound itself, it create the object to our ear. Appearance of itself, the smell, become object to our nose. The appearance of the taste itself become the object to our tongue. And the appearance of mental phenomena itself become object to the mind. So then just imagine there is, if something not appear to your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind, it's not going to become an object to you. So when it not become an object to you, your mind not going to depend on that. When the mind not going to depend on that, you can't explain it as I experience. So then to bring the I, to experience the I, always it go with the object. And because of that, we see the I, and it is just the mind and matter relationship. But if you bring the awareness as the center, for the awareness, it no need object. Then it's not going to depend on mind. And the awareness becomes stronger, stronger, clear and sharp. And you recognize this dependent nature, comparison, always into something. Always that we have desire from inside to outside, not going to happen. When you with the consciousness, when you with the awareness, but when you are with the mind, you always into something. Why? Because the mind itself means depend on object. So one time the Sigmund Freud mentioned libido, that as you know, the energy. The most of the people go crazy when they hear the libido. So what is the libido means? It's the very, very human behavior. Any movement from subject to object is libido. Any movement from inside to outside is the libido. That's the very nature of it. So when the mind becomes the the major, what happens, it always go from inside to outside. Why? Because it needs objects, matter. So when you practice the meditation, little by little, you develop the awareness and not put that much attention to the mind. But most of time what happens in the Western world, that even though they talk about awareness, the most of the self-development practice and the most of management, self-management, that everything talk about mind. So in most of this positive thinking field, is nothing wrong with that, but it has a certain kind of value to the society. In the beginning, it's kind of like this self-motivational things came as a inspiration. It inspired the life. That's how it came to the society. But now it kind of like became a theory to develop the life. But if you look very carefully, it based with the mind. So the very nature of the mind go from inside to outside to gain. But in meditation, especially in the Eastern culture, in the Buddha's teaching, it's nothing to go from inside to outside. You, more than the mind, you go towards the awareness. You pass the mind and go beyond the mind and bring the attention to the awareness. When the awareness become clear, and you anymore not bound to the gaining current. So even anytime you can simply practice it a little bit. So because the body, the mind, feelings, it's all go with the patterns. It's all objects. All the objects go with the patterns. This entire universe, if you take any as object, if you look, it's all go with the patterns. All the matters follow the patterns. The body, feelings, the mind, this all go with the patterns. But your awareness doesn't go with the pattern. The very key point is, cut the patterns, you have to use the awareness. That is the method we call meditation. So then when it comes to, you have to develop it in a certain way. In the beginning, you have to remember, to develop this path, there is a mechanism. So little by little, systematically, you have to practice. The repetition is the important thing. Like we learn everything, repetition. Again and again, you have to into the awareness. And knowingly, mind is not the important part of you. Awareness is the important part. And again and again, once you're into that. And another thing is that your desires going to become weaker. Because for the awareness, it doesn't have desires. Desire all come when the mind become major. When the awareness become major, it's just experience, that's it. So when the awareness become stronger, the desires minimize, obsession and addictions become minimized. So, and as a result of that, what happens? The pattern's going to slow down. And it's a physical, mental, emotional, any kind of feelings, it's going to slow down. And the very nature that go from inside to outside, going to withdraw. And that withdrawing nature is a kind of like a get out of the passion. It's kind of like another way called the dispassion. It's very necessary for the spiritual practice, not for the larger scale. But most of time in the Western world, with the meditation or any spiritual practice, they don't teach this dispassion. They go into the passion, put into the passion out of the training. Why? Because it's based with the mind. But here, to develop your awareness, one of the thing is you have to little by little practice the dispassion. And rather than go towards the world, little bit you have to back up from the world. It's not like you get out of everything. We can't do it like that way. But at least you have opportunity to little bit calm down, slow down, and have a little bit rest yourself. And maybe just imagine if you don't have to buy anything, why you go to mall and go here and there whole day? You go window shopping. What's the point? Why you do that? If you have to buy something, you go and buy it. It's reasonable. But if you don't have to buy, why you go? So then for your spiritual practice, you can invest that. Thinking, oh, I no need to go. That is a dispassion. You withdraw from the world. That is what you need. And sometimes, if you're not hungry, why you eat? And to remember, doing whatever you want, you can't get this inner development. There are certain things we have to throw away. Because with everything, we can't go this journey. Because there's most of the things depend on the mind, the body, the feelings, and the patterns and the habits. And if you look very carefully, most of the things that we eat, it's a pattern. We addicted to that. It is not really necessary. So then, if you recognize it and withdraw yourself, oh, I don't need this. That's dispassion. It is strong your awareness. This is what we don't do. And we think, oh, practicing meditation, close our eyes, oh, we will get anything that we want. No. You can't get get into the awareness if you don't develop that qualities. It's very hard. So once you have the dispassion, withdrawing nature, and it will help you to have the nature to get out of the anger, disappointment, resistance, and always kind of like a go, we have a nature, deeper, sleeping nature, always we have something to go against. Even just imagine, when we think about something good, we always, behind us, we have idea, oh, this is bad. And when you into so good things with your mind, unknowingly, very quickly you can get angry, you can get mad. And then you get wonder, oh, I always thought about the good things. Why I became angry? Because when you hold it to good things, that's the important thing, not the good things. And your mind start to resist everything around that good things. So that way, very quickly you get mad, angry. So the practicing day by day, when you keep into practice, what happened, not the mind, remember that, your awareness, attention. So the mind, as you know, when you put it to the practice, when you try to keep the awareness clear, mainly your mind going to disturb. So then you should not go and do the wrestling with the mind. You start to keep practice the awareness. And when the mind start to disturb with the ideas, thoughts, you have to remember to remind yourself, stay on the path. It is not your concern. It is this line from the movie, the book of Eli. Stay on the path. It is not your concern. And this guy go here and there, and then when the gangsters come and try, into fight, this guy want to stay away from that. But he see, and he don't want to get in, and he try to stay away. He himself remind, stay on the path. It is not your concern. So when you into awareness, when the mind start to disturb, you have to remember, stay on the path. It is not your concern. You no need to argue with the mind. You no need to reply to the mind. You no need to listen to the mind. Because your major thing is your awareness. And then by the time, what will happen? The Mahout becomes stronger, and the Mahout start to train the elephant. And when the elephant listen to the Mahout, it doesn't matter how big the elephant, and the Mahout can maintain. So then always remember into awareness and keep practice with that, even in day-to-day life. Even you go to sleep, keep it to the awareness. Let the body to rest. And don't with the mind. Be aware. When you eat, do everything, and then anytime you will see, all the time you can be in this meditative mind. Then the meditation is a kind of like a practice. Till you die, you no need to practice meditation. You somehow you have to, once you get into the awareness, it's kind of like you into the paradigm shift. Then after that what you experience become different. That, and this is, you're not the body. You're not the mind. You're not the feelings. And the awareness itself experience this, and even that awareness not permanent, and then itself bring the liberation to you. But before you go and try to understand the very nature of awareness, don't do it. Why? Because then you use the mind, and then you start to make it kind of like a object. Awareness is not object. So that's why it's a you have to get into experience it. That once you come to that, what will happen? You're the body, your mind, your feelings, your awareness, this everything come together, not separately. When that everything come together, it is just only moment of experience. That is what called the present moment. But when you experience something with the mind, it always depends on the matter, and not only the matter, it's always depend on the patterns and the history. And one other way called the sanskara. And it's go out of the moment. By mind, try it. By mind, you can't catch the present moment. You have to come to the awareness to experience the present moment. So in the very nature of the present moment, the body, mind, awareness, the feelings, that everything you have to bring together. And another way it called the collective awareness. Because this everything you have to come together. Otherwise, always you need some kind of help from somewhere. So that's why in the beginning, we practice tranquility meditation. In that tranquility meditation, we bring this collective awareness. And once you have that collective awareness, from that point, you can go to the next level to understand how things come to be as they are. That understanding means, even though we use this word as understanding, it is moment of experience. That experience happen only in that very moment. Rising, existing, and disappearing. When you are come to that moment, it is irreversible. And it is not depending from something. And it doesn't look for something. And itself, it becomes free from all the mind and matter. And when your consciousness, awareness become free from the mind and matter, from that point, you will see what is next. Because from this point, if we try to talk about it again, what will happen? We have to use the mind. Then again, as we close our eyes, and what will happen? We put the whole world into our mind, shrink into mind, and try to meditate. It doesn't work. Because our purpose is get out of it. Not to bring the world to inside, but to take out the inside world outside. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit. So your right palm on your left, neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say Swapat Veva, or may I be. well, and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment, with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your body to settle down and keep your awareness to the sensation. Do nothing extra. Bring my attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this with clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away. Already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once. Like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Uttavata cha ammi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Attaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribunjissami Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.